you're prosecuting a kid for stealing his Christmas present early. And we were like, we did not authorize that. So we were like, oh dear. And when they interviewed the mother on TV, she said the reason that I wanted him charged, because Mama begged them to charge him, and that's why they charged him. She said, I just didn't know where to go for help. He's been misbehaving, he's been doing wrong, and we did not know what to do. Hey, how are you? How are you? I'm about to wrap up, so
yeah, sure.
I'm so glad you're here. So she says to to the newspaper and the media that I did not know what to do because my child was out of control and I didn't know where to go for help, and I begged the law enforcement to charge him with stealing his own Christmas present. Well, we heard that and we were like, you know what? We need to do something. We had decided that we needed a program to deal with some of those young people who have not yet done, it's truly not a crime yet. What they have done has not been a crime. So we needed to do something. So we came up with the Project CARE. CARE stands for Choices and Reality Education, because what we were trying to do is give them some education in this is reality. If you don't make good choices, this is what's going to happen, and that kind of thing. So again, it's for those juveniles who have not yet been charged, so it won't really affect y'all, but I think it's always good for y'all to know of these, because you might be talking to a mother who says, you're here on this case, but my other boy, he's misbehaving, but he hadn't had a crime yet. You could say, wait a minute, I think the solicitor has a program for that. Our office assists with referrals to agencies, helping parents maybe get help from NAMI or from, mental health or whatever it is, prison tours, counseling, and things of that nature. Because if the juvenile does not improve, we can bring that juvenile to court on incorrigibility. But we don't like that to be well known out there, because can you imagine if we told every parent, we'll bring your child to court for incorrigibility if they're not behaving? We would be like, we need 15 more prosecutors to do all that.
I was going to say.
I know. That's serious. So
Bring us in the tax office. We have a long line.
We got a long line out the back.
At the end of the month.
That's right. Yeah. So we just, we know that we needed to do something to try to help our community and help parents who are struggling. And while it's really not something that I think last year we only had 33 juveniles that did it, but that was 33 young people who otherwise had not had a charge, but we were trying to offer some services to the parents.
And of course, a lot of times a parent calls and he or she, or a grandparent too, at their wit's end,
right,
and they just want somebody to listen to them. And so I spend 20 or 30 minutes listening to that parent. I give them the opportunity to make an appointment to come in, and I will talk to the child, offer some services. Sometimes they come in, sometimes they don't. But at that moment, at least somebody is listening to them, and that's very important, I think.
I do too. And when we tell them that ultimately, parent, if you do all these things and the child continues to misbehave, then we will help you by taking the young person to court. And of course that rarely happens, because generally what happens is they come here, the parent gets some help, they feel better, the kid does a little bit better, or the kid does do a crime, and then we have them, unfortunately sometimes it does, they end up doing something, and it does happen. But we also have another program called our Juvenile Diversion Program. It is similar to arbitration, but it costs money. But let me just say, we discount it so much so that anybody can afford it. But it's really not to compete with arbitration. It is like if we have a 12-year-old who comes through arbitration because he bashed a mailbox, and now he's 16 and he took a drink of alcohol, we would usually, if we didn't have another program, bring that young person to court. And even though that's the second time they've gotten in trouble, sometimes if it's a far enough space in time and the case is still relatively minor and we think we can handle them in the community, we have this other program. It is again a diversion from court. There are times we might put somebody in that program who we think is too much for y'all to deal with. You know what I'm saying? It's just a little bit complicated, or not that y'all can't handle that, but it just seems like to me sometimes we have some that are a little bit more serious, a little bit more hands-on. Things that we just don't want to burden y'all with. It might be it'd be easier for somebody in our office to handle that, so that's what we do. Last year in that program we only had about 43 juveniles, but again, those are 43 juveniles we did not bring to court. And the success rate with that program is good. Not as good as arbitration, but it is good. Then we have, just briefly, I'll touch on this, juvenile drug court, which juvenile drug court is not an actual intervention program, because you actually have to go to court to get into our juvenile drug court. And that's what Denise does. These young people plead guilty, they agree to go through the program, they attend court sessions and status hearings 2 times a week, and they're drug tested randomly. And they have swift sanctions, so that if you test positive on Tuesday, you're going to probably go to jail right that weekend. So when you go to jail that weekend, then you come out and you start back over. So it's not like you're messed up and you're gone forever. It's just go take a taste of what it's like to be in jail, come back and with a better attitude.
Now, do they go to the one in Columbia?
They will go to, yes, they will go down to, well, actually Union. They'll go to Union to do a weekend, yeah, which is a long way from home. And a lot of that time, those kids sometimes will turn around. But more and more, without delving too much into this, we're seeing more juveniles who are addicted to drugs. Not just experimenting anymore. They are literally having a hard time staying clean.
We're seeing a lot more pills than we used to.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And a lot more multiple substances, and with the dual diagnosis,
Yeah.
because most of the time, an awful lot of them are self-medicating,
Right.
and Judy's shaking her head because she knows they self-medicate, and so then they've got the dual diagnosis with
Right.
mental health and with the substance abuse, and she can tell you a whole lot
All
more
about
about
that.
that
That's
than I
really
can.
difficult.
So what we have found with that program, it's been very successful as well. If they are successful in the program, the case is dismissed from their juvenile record. So we have a lot of young people who will want to go through that program because they know, they want to keep their record clean. So, and not have a juvenile record.
That's
in
particularly
court.
good for kids who want to go to college and may need student loans, because that adjudication can keep them from getting
Yeah, within a
federal
year.
student
Right.
loans.
Right.
And we have 2 family court judges that preside over drug court on Tuesday evenings. They volunteer their time. And I think that's very effective, because those kids have to stand up in front of that judge every single week and account for their actions.
Right. So it's a really great program too. So, you could find yourself in a hearing where you feel like, the young person might be one that down the road is going to need drug court. Maybe even it's something that you just keep in the back of your mind to tell Ray, gosh, I don't know if this one's going to be one, and if not, maybe I'd recommend drug court, something like that. Another improvement that we made to the juvenile system was the juvenile ticket procedure. That was done in the year 2000. I remember the night that it was starting on July 1st, the year 2000, I didn't get a wink of sleep, because everything was changing overnight. We developed I had gone down to Florida and I'd seen a ticket system that they use in Florida, and I was like, this is a great way of getting young people to court. Because heretofore, what would happen is a young person would be charged, let's say they're shoplifting at Walmart right now. They would right now be taken, to law enforcement headquarters or whatever, and law enforcement would do the paperwork and tell the young person, okay, go on. They will let you know when to come. We don't know when that court date will be, but they will tell you when to come and where to be. They'll serve you with papers. And then the young person would walk out the door. It might be 3 or 4 or 5 months or 6 months or longer before law enforcement got the paperwork to us, or to DJJ first, actually, back then. It went to Department of Juvenile Justice, and they did their part, and then it came to me. And by the time we got it, the case would be 4 months old on a shoplifting. It's like, what? That happened back in, the summer, and right now we're getting them into court or a program, and that just didn't make sense, because the quicker you can get the person from the crime to the help that they need, the better opportunity we have for turning them around. And so I had gone to Florida, like I said, and I remember just being I was studying another part of their system, because that's another thing. We are so interested in learning. We don't want to say we're ever stopped. We've accomplished everything. We wanted to always be improving. And I saw this ticket that they had, and I thought, gosh, that doesn't look like anything that we couldn't do. We just have to figure out how to do it. So York County, back in the year 2000, we developed a ticket system, and every year since then, that's 17 years now, we have improved it, in some way, tweaked the system, the ticket a little bit, or however we want to do it. But essentially, on the day of the crime at Walmart, right now, the young person is doing the crime, he's caught. Law enforcement gives the child a ticket that tells them when to come for initial appearance and when to come to court. And on that day, and I probably should get, do you have one handy? I'd love for them to see it. And I know I'm going over, but we're gonna.
Oh, yeah, it's okay. No, I'm good.
Good. I'm almost finished. But the ticket is given to the young person on that day so that they know when they're coming to court. And we have found over the years that it helps law enforcement because they know they can say to the kid, look kid, you gotta be in court, and this isn't just gonna go away. We've noticed that it's brought down our detentions because sometimes law enforcement can lock a child up in detention, but if they know they're gonna be coming to court within 28 days, they're like, I'm just gonna let him go home with his mama. So what we try to do is have them all to court or into a program in less than 40 days. Which, again, in y'all's mind, 40 days, that's a long time, but it used to be 4 months. We got it down to 40 days.
I think it's
and
amazing.
all the stuff that we have to do to come from the court date through to y'all, that y'all would actually, thank you, get it within 28 days, usually. But this, you can kind of look at it. There's one for you, and y'all can look at it. And it's, the young person gets it in triplicate, or they get one, and we get one, and law enforcement gets one. And so what was great about the juvenile ticket procedure, it just streamlined everything. Our office is on a timeline. We can't just sit back and go, I'm not going to do any cases today because I'm just going to kind of do nothing. This means everything is on schedule, and we have to be ready when those cases come. And when they're coming to initial appearance and when they're coming to court, they're all ready. So we did that back in the year 2000, and since that time, other circuits, 5 other, Horry County, Spartanburg County, McCormick, Saluda, Greenwood County have all copied that procedure, which is very good because they knew that in streamlining the system, and I'm not going to get into all the things that it did because some of it's not important, but DJJ does not get the cases first. We used to have to rely on what they did, and now we get all stuff first, so we can kind of drive the ship instead of waiting on them to get the paperwork to us. So it has helped so much. So yeah, we're really excited about that. We also have, I'm gonna ask one more thing. Do you mind grabbing some of our calendars? We could give them some if we have some. I bet Denise knows where they are, the drug calendars. The drug calendars, do we have a couple for them? Maybe one for each? We also sponsor a community prevention program. This is completely prevention. It is for 5th graders in our county, and you can see some of the winners on our wall all through our office. Back in, I think we've been doing it 10 years. We started it in 2007. We started sponsoring a contest for all 5th graders to say no to drugs and alcohol and making good choices. And so they do a poster, and then we have artists that come in and choose the winners, and then we have a big to-do about these 5th graders who are saying no to drugs, alcohol, and making good choices.
Is that in all the schools?
It's in all the schools, yes. So I think it might be a private school that we don't.
It's like the DARE program years ago.
Kind of, yeah, kind of like that. But it's just one thing, and we've been doing it so long that now all the people look forward to it. The art teachers look forward to it. These kids are so talented, and so when we have a big reception for them at the end of school in May, and each one of them get $100. I don't know why I put savings bond. They get a $50 gift card. We started out with $100 savings bond. Nobody does savings bonds anymore. But when I was doing that earlier, I must have just not even been paying attention. We do a $50 gift card to a Books A Million bookstore. So the young people get their picture in the calendar, their drawing in the calendar, and a little gift card. And so we were just very happy to be part of true prevention, so that our office can, instead of being involved in having kids that are doing bad things, we're actually helping them because they're making good choices. So you will see that from what we've talked about, we are very committed to all aspects of juvenile prosecution.
I don't have any current ones, but if you just want to show
Yeah,
me
that's
one.
fine.
Okay,
That's fine. I can't. I wonder where they are. I think we have a few left. Did you look in the top of Kanisha's?
Yeah, that's where I found Union, but I didn't find.
Okay,
York.
that's fine. They can at least see what it's
Yeah.
like. We usually have some leftovers that we just give away when we see people, but we Kevin uses drug money, which is really good because we get drug forfeiture money when they forfeit stuff. He uses drug money to pay for the calendars, and we pay for 5,000 calendars, and they go all over the state. So it's really great. We have drug dealers paying for our drug calendars, which is really a great.
So funny.
Isn't that great? It's just perfect. So we then give them out for free to whoever wants them, and the young people are really excited. And you'll see they're really well done. So
One's,
yeah.
they're from last year, but one's Union and one's York.
Because we then, about 3 years ago, I told Kevin, I was like, well, I'll go down to Union and do it. I mean, those young people deserve to have some, a calendar in their
Is this done during Red Ribbon?
Well, we tried to get it in October, which is October Red Ribbon Week, but it's easier for the schools to do it after, in the second half of the semester. And it was also our turnaround trying to get the deadline, everything printed and have it start in January was impossible. So these are called school calendars, and they start in August. So we deliver them at the end of July. We have the competition, the winners are announced in May, and we have the reception in the end of May, and right at the end of school. And then the calendar is printed over the summer, and they go out in August, so that the young people will have it for the school calendar. And then on the back of the calendar, we have like resources for families and things like that. And I hope we have NAMI on the back of there. If we don't, we need to have NAMI on the back of there. I think we do.
Now, it might be on this year's, because I don't.
That's right, because these are from
These are from last year. I don't know where they got put, but
they're somewhere around here. But I'll try to find them before y'all's sessions are over, and we'll give you
There's
one
a
to
time
take
you
with
can't
us.
move in here because of them.
I know, because they are usually 5,000 in this room right here. So, but you can see from what I'm saying that obviously we take what we do very seriously. We know that we always want to be improving. And one of my favorite quotes that I have on my calendar, on my computer in the office, or on my screen over there in my office, says that these are all our children. We will profit by or pay for whatever they become. So we know that we've got to put our priority in making sure that these young people are getting what they need, and always looking to improve and searching for new programs, ideas, new ways of doing business, not just resting on our laurels, and always trying to do better and do more. So there you have it. So, thanks. I think, yes.
do you want to turn this off?
Yeah, let's do that. Turn it off. And do y'all have any questions? I know, did you get something to eat, Judy? Please do.
I had, I ate something before I came.